Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, nearly 1,100 of the 3,000 odd Indians who are wanting to come back home from Sudan are already back home. Yes, Operation Kaveri is in full swing. The homecoming is happening via the coordination of the External Affairs Ministry, the Government of India, and of course the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force. A big salute and a shout out to the Indian Navy personnel, the Indian Air Force personnel, and also the 10 to 12 ministry and embassy officials who are coordinating this mammoth effort. And we also have the man on the mission and who is on live, on ground at Jeddah, tasked by the Prime Minister to lead the efforts on behalf of the Government of India, the MOS MEA, V Muraleedharan ji. He's currently in Jeddah, and that is where the entire group of evacuees who are coming out of Sudan, they are now arriving at Jeddah. They're being taken to the Indian school in Jeddah where they're staying, and then when their turn comes on the roster call to board the flight, they are being sent home via chartered flights or even the Indian Air Force aircraft that are ferrying them back. Very soon, we are given to understand in the course of the next 48 hours, all those Indian citizens who wanted to come back home from Sudan, who wanted to be evacuated, should be evacuated. There are many stories to share, ladies and gentlemen, as they have come back home. We are standing by for V Muraleedharan ji to join us live in just a bit. But before that, even as we get set for him to come join us live, let's go and let's connect with two of the citizens, Indian citizens, one from Patna, the other from Ludhiana, joining us live at this point and understand from them what they went through, how easy or difficult it was, and how the last week has been. Ever since the 15th of April, Sudan was strife-torn, and now the 27th. Some of them have come back on the 26th. The last 10, 11 days have been harrowing. First up, I'm going to make an effort to try and go across to Rajesh Chaturvedi from Patna. Rajesh ji, namaste. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आप वापस घर आ गए हैं, but tell me, how did you feel when you realized that you're back in India? आपकी घर वापसी हो गई है.
It's like ये feeling मतलब बयान नहीं कर सकता हूँ. It's amazing. The basic fact is that my father was not knowing at all that I'm traveling back to India. Like not traveling back, actually evacuating from that country to this country in this manner. And he was following the news and he was calling me many times. I used to say my place is okay. So he was very happy that his place is okay, so everything is okay. And today when I saw him and he saw me, he started, having emotional feelings.
But Rajesh ji, how long were you there and what happened? Can you take us through?
See, I was there in Sudan for 7 years, and basically मैं काम करता हूँ Dunlop Tires के लिए. Dunlop Tires, the one which is not in India, it is basically belongs to Sumitomo Rubber Industry, Japan. And I was reporting to South Africa office, Durban office, Sumitomo Rubber, Durban, South Africa. And I was stationed in Sudan. 2022, I can say the whole system of business community, the whole system of development, whatever used to happen in that country, it started going to the slowdown. And it came to a point where it was totally choked. So we were all believing and, hoping that things will blast now and blast in a better manner. So everybody will come to a platform and sit and decide to do something good for the country. But it happened actually in a miserably opposite way. So it was not even expected. And the day it happened, in the morning, Saturday morning, I think 15th of April, I generally, it was a Ramadan month. So we used to take, 2 hours leverage of office timing, like 1 hour delay in office starting and 1 hour early in, closing the office. So I reached office by 9. By 9:30, everything started mobilizing in such a manner that it was not conducive for the people to stay out or be on office. In 30 minutes, we all started going back to home, and by afternoon, everything started turning around to a war kind of a situation. Means like I saw a fighter plane flying over my flat, my building. So we were seeing the burning of airport, burning of army headquarters, the fumes, the all things were black and black. Whole sky was totally black.
Wow.
So this started like this, and then it continued.
Well, Rajeshji, I'm just going to ask you to wait with us because we also have Nishant. Nishant Singhania is joining us from Ludhiana. He was rescued from Sudan. He was part of the first batch, those who returned. Nishant, namaste. And once again, I'm happy कि आप भी घर वापस आ गए हैं. आप कब वापस पहुंचे? When did you reach home? Where do you live? What do you do? What did you do in Sudan?
Well, I live in Ludhiana in Punjab. So I arrived yesterday night to Delhi airport. And then my brother and my family, they came to pick me up. So I arrived this morning to my home, Ludhiana. So in Khartoum, I am doing work. I have a business there for travel management company. So I'm doing this since 2014. Initially, I was doing a job there. But then in 2018, we started our own business, our own venture there. So normally what we do, I travel back and forth. So 2 months I'm in India and then there. So I just traveled on 11th of April only to Sudan.
So you went back only on the 11th? Or 4 din baad 15th it all started? That's what Rajesh ji is telling us. What happened where you were in Khartoum?
Saturday, it was we were hearing gunshots and all. But Sunday morning, the electricity went out. We having an inverter, so seeing the situation, we switched on to the emergency things. We were not using electricity apart from charging our cell phones because we don't want to get disconnected from the whole world. Once the phone was off, you cannot do anything because you can't go on the roads and you are not able to access the situation, talk to people around, your friends, the local friends we have there. So till Wednesday, we were at our home only in Amarat. But Wednesday, even the inverter also died because 3 days and it will not go more than that. So then I decided to move from Amarat to one of my friend's place. It is in the other neighborhood, Mamura. They have electricity and everything. So I thought it's better to move from here at least.
But could you step out on the road? Were you able to step out easily? You said you want to move from one place to the other. How did you do that?
Someone called me, so I got help from someone. They sent their driver. It was a local driver. So he came to pick me up downstairs from my home. We put our luggages. When we were moving around, the roads were quiet, but there was military all around. I cannot say which force was there because I cannot distinguish between them. But at one point, we were stopped. There was a checkpoint. He asked questions from the driver. Then he asked us also that whether we know the driver, because sometimes they think we are kidnapped or something, or he's taking us away. So in the way, they just asked the question. They asked, what is in your bag? I said, just the clothes and all. And then he allowed us to leave. And we reached to our friend's place. So then staying there for 2 days, then we were friends in that locality. We were friends, 2 families were there. They are also from Punjab itself. And then we have other friends also, Indians, we all know each other. So we make a group and we decided it's better to move to Port Sudan, to hire a bus, and we should move because the UN convoy was also moving that day. Because the line of work I am in, I know the people from UN, different embassies and all. So I even consulted with them with my contacts. So they were saying we are moving tomorrow to Port Sudan. So we also discussed with the embassy there. So they were saying they were thinking if the route is safe. They were going around. They were talking with the people and everyone with their resources, so that if people are moving, they know that the routes are okay. Because see, at house you are 50-50. You will not get looted or something. But if you are on the road, you are 100% prone to the risk. You are 100% exposed. There you can't do anything. If someone comes and loots you and just leave you on the road, what will you do? So embassy was very much talking with the people, and they were difficult. They were also in a difficult situation. You know how the situation was.
So, but when you were on the road, did they stop you? Did they check you? What was happening? Who was in control of the streets?
They used to come inside the bus, one soldier. He see all people around. He will say hello and everyone, and where you are going, what's your nationality, and he say, and then he will move around.
The moment you said you were from India, what was the reaction?
Normally people in Sudan, they have a good relation with Indians. Like we say Indian, they call it Hindi.
Hindi, only Hindi.
Yes. So the reactions was okay. Like they were not like harassing people or anything. They were just asking this and they were moving around. No issues with that. They were not even checking our baggages or anything.
Since you were the first batch, tell me what happened when you reached the port of Sudan. 900 kilometers from Khartoum to port of Sudan. How did the Indian agencies, were they present? Did they help you? What happened there?
When we reached there in Port Sudan, there was already a setup in the school they made where you can stay. But fortunately, like we have good friends there in Port Sudan as well. So we stayed in one of our friend's house, like he arranged one of the apartments next to it. So we all can stay there.
Right. Nishant, even as I come to you with the next question, we are hoping to get V Muraleedharan ji on the phone, because even as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, he's on his way from the Indian school in Jeddah to the airport, to the port actually, Jeddah port, to receive another batch of Indian evacuees who are coming in from Sudan. So we'll try and get him on the phone at the earliest. Meanwhile, from Port Sudan, where did you go? You said you went to Jeddah. Where did you go from there?
When we arrived, the embassy people, I think 2 staffs were there. So what we did, like they were also limited on resources.
Right.
So one of my friend, he is also having a business there. He's a distributor of mobile phones. So his team was also there. So what we say to them, like if you're out of resources, we have laptops, we have people who can manage, who can make the list, who can make the head counts.
So they were volunteers. So they were people for volunteering.
Yes. So the team was set up like we made
Fantastic. You guys actually volunteered and tried to help the citizens. I'm going to, Rajesh ji, Nishant, please wait with us. I'm just going to try and go across to V Muraleedharan ji, who's with us on the phone line. V Muraleedharan ji, namaste. Anand Narasimhan here. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I know you are in the thick of things and you're rushing to receive yet another group of Indian citizens. How is the evacuation work going on so far?
No, it is going on very smoothly. And as you know, around 1,100 Indians have reached Jeddah. And from here, around 600 have already reached India, both in Delhi and Mumbai. So we are about to receive another flight, our C-130 Indian Air Force flight from Port Sudan to Jeddah is landing in a few minutes.
What has been the reaction of the Indian citizens, V Muraleedharan ji, when they have seen the Indian officials when they have come to Jeddah?
They are extremely happy that under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, he has walking the talk of bringing back every Indian safe and secure whichever conflict zones they are. So that effort is being undertaken with, of course, the government of Saudi is also cooperating wholeheartedly. Our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar ji had thanked the Foreign Minister and the government of Saudi for the extremely cooperative and support that they have been extending to us.
Well, we've had the chance, or I've had the chance to speak to some of the evacuees. They are heaping a lot of praise on the Indian Embassy, External Affairs Ministry officials, the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force, saying you all have been very, very courteous and very helpful.
Of course, I have personally seen that, and Indian Embassy both in Khartoum as well as in Jeddah, and our consulate, Indian Embassy in Riyadh and our consulate in Jeddah. They've all been, all the officials and other officers who have been drawn from the region of various Indian missions. They are all here. In fact, we have the control room functioning 24/7 from Delhi, the control room here in Jeddah, as well as the Indian Embassy in Khartoum. We are all in coordination, and the control room in Port Sudan. So it's a multiple location focused and coordinated effort. and of course the role that the Indian Air Force and Indian Navy is playing. And the volunteers and the Indian community in Jeddah, they are also very much involved in the this rescue operations.
Yes, I'm actually speaking to Nishant, who said that he and his friends there, who has a mobile accessories company. They actually sat down with the two embassy officials on day one and helped compile the entire list of Indian citizens who are coming there to help the captain of the Navy ship and also for documentation. V Muraleedharan ji, Rajesh is there with us from Patna, and he has something to say to the Indian government and the officials there. Please hear this out. Ji, Rajesh ji.
Basically, these decisions were taken that during Eid festival, and even both the parties, the army and the RSF, both agreed also for some, I think 72 hours of ceasefire also to get the people time to, evacuate and reach to the different locations. To mobilize this big people with a number of people, it needs a lot of, communication and all. And they are, I think, 10 or 11. So 10, 11 people coordinating for 4,000 people, it's really a big task. So we were having some groups divided, WhatsApp groups, and we were group coordinators divided into, different areas. So like I was a group coordinator for some area. There were some other people also group coordinated. So we all were coordinating among the groups, and we were mobilizing the things. This is what I perceive, that this is because of the current situation of India, current strength of India. And I must say one more thing, that while evacuating, when these people were coming into our buses, they were so good in, like when they are seeing Indian, they say Hindi. So they say Hindi and they say Ma Salama. That means, okay, you go.
So that's the equity of being an Indian and the tricolor, V Muraleedharan ji. That they say Al Hindi and they are saying Al Salama, please go. It's a matter of pride for all of us, sir.
Many of the evacuees have personally shared this experience with me, that India's development partnership with Sudan has been a very strong partnership, and the people in Sudan, whether they are of whichever faction they belong, they were very helpful to India. So India is there in their hearts. So that's why we have been able to bring back all these people without any problems, or at least if whenever there was an issue, we have been able to solve it.
Muraleedharan ji, we are given to understand that around 3,200 odd Indians are waiting to be evacuated overall in total. So by when will Operation Kaveri be completed?
See, we are making all our efforts every day. Yesterday and today we had around 500 people traveling from Port Sudan to Jeddah. 2 sorties on each day by the Indian Air Force C-130 and the ship, INS ship. Yesterday Sumedha came, today Tej came. Now I am going to receive the 5th sortie by the C-130. But you definitely are aware that it's definitely a very hard task bringing our people from Khartoum to Port Sudan, which is around 800 kilometers from Khartoum. So this task is being undertaken, and very safely, and ensuring that the security of everyone who comes in is maintained. And we hope to complete it at the earliest, because this is a volatile situation and it's a complex situation. So we would like to complete as early as possible.
There are evacuees from Kerala, from Karnataka, some are from Maharashtra also, and there are some who are stuck in cities like Darfur and Al-Fahar. Are they also going to be evacuated, or is it largely focused on Khartoum?
No, we have been trying to see. The first step is to bring them from the conflict zones to relatively calmer areas, places somewhere in Khartoum, and from there take them to Port Sudan. and from Port Sudan to Jeddah, and Jeddah to India. And to India, we have yesterday, we sent a flight to Delhi, Saudi Airlines chartered flight. And then today morning, an Indian Air Force flight, the C-17, came to from Jeddah. It flew to Mumbai. So we are considering this aspect of from which region are the people who are wanted to travel. Accordingly, we are trying to arrange the flight to somewhere logistically convenient area in India of that region.
My final question, V Muraleedharan ji, I know you're in the thick of things. Have you been able to get any rest, or you're going to rest only after Operation Kaveri is over? And also to those families who are eagerly waiting the return of those who haven't returned yet.
See, I am in a government led by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has not taken a single day rest during the last 9 years. So I don't think that I should give an answer on whether I have taken a rest or not. Ultimately, I am here for not to take rest, but to implement the task that the Prime Minister and the Honorable Foreign Minister has taken upon themselves. And I'm fully committed to this task. And with the participation of our Indian community and the officers in the Ministry of External Affairs, who are extremely hardworking, and they have also not slept for many days. The ambassador, the other officials who are here, including from Delhi. So we are doing our duty. So we will make all efforts to see that the word given by the Prime Minister that Indians anywhere in the world, in any conflict zone, we would like to bring them safe and secure.
No Indian left behind, that's the promise, and let's hope you're able to deliver, because it's a tall order. To you and to the entire team, including the embassy officials, the members of the Indian Armed Forces, and all those who are volunteering, commendations and all the very best in completing Operation Kaveri successfully. Thank you very much, Muraleedharan ji.
Thank you. And I would thank you for the support that the media is also giving in this task.
Well, if you are working, endeavoring for India and Indians, then we would always want to highlight the good work that's being done. So,
Thank you.
So you deserve the credit, and those who are working tirelessly, they deserve the credit. I thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, before we leave and before we move on, just a quick word from Nishant. Nishant, anything you want to say to the Prime Minister, the agencies? You've worked with them closely. You've seen how they are on ground.
I would like to thank Mr. Narendra Modi for all the things they have done for us, and we salute to our Indian Navy forces and Air Forces, with the help of which we were able to evacuate it from Port Sudan to Jeddah. And all the arrangements, they were really good. However was the situation, the arrangements and the way people acted and helped, it is really commendable job done by them.
Well, Rajesh and Nishant, thank you for speaking with us, and we are very glad you're back home with your loved ones. Let's hope everybody who's stuck in Sudan is back home on Indian soil. Their Ghar Wapsi is completed via Operation Kaveri, and they're back with their loved ones. Let's quickly get a move on here on the right stand. To the Dantewada attack, ladies and gentlemen. 10 Jawans and a driver were killed in a most dastardly attack in Chattisgarh, Dantewada. A video of the incident reportedly shot by the driver of the other vehicle, there were two vehicles that were travelling together, has captured the gunfire moments after the vehicle carrying the 10 DRG men and the driver were blown up. The impact of the blast left the rifles that the DRG was carrying twisted and mangled. Now, Arunima and Ankur at News 18 have been able to piece together some very vital details which we'd like to share with you here on the right stand. After the ID blast in Dantewada, investigators have found a tunnel at the spot with traces of explosives. The police believe that the tunnel was packed with explosives and a wire was used to trigger the ID from inside the jungle. The cops have also found the soil that's been dug out of the tunnel dumped at a little distance away near a pond in the forest. Meters of wire have also been found at that spot, confirming the suspicion that the alleged Naxals were sitting in the forest away from the road to detonate the ID upon the passing of the vehicle. The NSG National Bomb Data Center and Central Forensic teams are analyzing the evidence on ground, but sources have told News 18 that the preliminary assessment suggests about 50 kilograms of high-grade explosives could have been used in the blast. Traces of nitrate have also been found on ground. Cops suspect this to be ammonium nitrate mixed compound used for coal mining in the area. So blasting during the purpose of coal mines. So that kind of explosive has been used. Now the sequence of events that led to the 11 deaths in this Naxal attack in Chattisgarh, Dantewada on Wednesday can be traced back to the 18th of April when the convoy of a local Congress MLA came under fire. So what happened on the 18th of April? On the 18th of April, Congress MLA Vikram Mandavi's convoy came under attack from Naxals in the insurgency hit Bijapur district of the state. The attack on the Congress MLA's convoy failed to harm anyone as the Naxal were assailing, or the assailants' guns reportedly jammed. So the driver of the MLA's car immediately floored the pedal, sped away from the scene. What happened following the failed attack on the Bijapur MLA Mandavi is that the District Reserve Guard launched an operation to neutralize these Naxals that took them to this entire Arandpur area, tracing their location. Government sources say the security personnel moved from their headquarters in Dantewada town to the Arandpur police station, and these DRG personnel left their vehicles at the police station, and that it was parked there for 2 whole days. Sources now tell News 18 that it is revealed that the DRG team managed to take into custody 2 of these Naxals during their operation, and the arrested duo were with the personnel when they came under attack. Government sources say the attackers were reportedly aware that the DRG team had left their vehicles at the Arandpur police station and would be heading straight there to retrieve their vehicles so that they can head back to the Dantewada headquarters. So that's the reason why they came back from the same route. There was no other way to get back there. However, no road opening party wherein troops are stationed on both sides of the road to secure sensitive convoys in terrorism or Naxal affected areas was set up for this DRG team. So that's one big lapse. Government sources also telling News 18 that the initial assessment has confirmed that Naxals targeted the DRG commandos with the help of locals. Sources said that the convoy's first vehicle, which was carrying the arrested Naxals, was actually given a pass because there were Naxals inside that. But the second vehicle was flagged down by some locals on the pretext of seeking donations for the Amma festival. The IED blew up the van around 200 meters from where it was allegedly stopped by the locals. So they identified, waited, that's the thought process, and then when they went, the ishara happened and this vehicle was blown up. It was a pickup truck. It all didn't stop there. The Naxals had another plan. Government sources confirmed that these vehicles were carrying DRG commandos, had weapons, and the Naxals reportedly tried to loot this after the blast. Their attempts were thwarted when the personnel in the other van who were ahead, they saw the blast behind, turned back, and then they gave fire again. They opened fire, and these Naxals, these attackers, managed to flee. The surviving DRG team carried out the evacuation and also search operations thereafter. Now, this Arandpur attack that has claimed 11 lives in the 7th such big attack in Dantewada by Naxals in the last 13 years. And all of them came during the tactical counter-offensive campaign launched every summer. So let's look at this. March 2014, 16 killed in a Maoist ambush in Sukma district. So that's the first of the 7 in 13 years. Now, December 2014, 14 CRPF personnel killed in the Sukma district. April 2015, 7 elite special task force personnel were killed in the Bastar region. So you look at that corridor, it's all around in that area only that they have now been reduced to. This corridor has shrunk drastically, but it's still active. February 2022, Cobra commandos who were killed in Bijapur, where again they tried to attack this Congress MLA. March 2020, 17 police personnel killed in Sukma, not so far away. April 2021, 22 security personnel killed in Bijapur Sukma border area. And April 26, 2023, 11 security personnel killed in this IED attack in Dantewada. Now, despite these attacks, did the DRG actually walk into a trap laid out by these Maoists? They used the same road twice, opening themselves up to monitoring. Did they really have to leave their cars at that police station? Could there have been a better way to do that? Convoy had 2 hired vehicles that actually raises the risk of information being leaked. The absence of any advance recce by road opening party. 4th lapse, the SOP says travel on foot or motorbike. That was ignored. No reinforcements were given even after the Naxals fired post this explosion. Now, Arunima, our colleague, also spoke to one of the attack survivor who narrates what actually happened and why he calls himself lucky. Listen in.
आपका ये जो नक्सली हमला हुआ है उसमें आप मौजूद थे ना?
जी मैम मौजूद था, मेरी जस्ट पीछे गाड़ी थी।
आप मुझे बताएंगे युवराज जी क्या हुआ, आपने क्या देखा?
मैम हम लोग 3 गाड़ियां चल रहे थे, एक पिकअप थी और एक मेरी स्कॉर्पियो थी ब्लैक वाली, और फिर उसके बाद एक तूफान थी फोर्स गाड़ी जो लंबी सी होती है ना, वो वाली गाड़ी। उसके बाद मेरी गाड़ी में लकड़ी फंस गया, वो जो आम पंडुम जो बना रहे थे वहाँ गाँव वाले, तो हम लोग उसको चढ़ा दिए। तो गाड़ी में लकड़ी फंस गया, पिकअप निकल गई, मेरी गाड़ी में फंस गया, तो मैं 2 मिनट के लिए वहाँ पे निकालने के लिए रुक दिया। उसके बाद फिर मैं स्पीड बढ़ाया कि मतलब सामने किसी को लेके जा रहे हैं, जो भी पकड़े थे जिसको भी उसको लेके जा रहे थे हम लोग, क्योंकि वो घायल था।
अच्छा।
तो उसके बाद फिर सडनली मेरी गाड़ी ना हल्की स्लो हुई, और जो मेरी पीछे वाली गाड़ी है वो एकदम तुरंत मतलब मेरे को क्रॉस करके सीधे आगे गई, 50-60 मीटर के लगभग ब्लास्ट हो गया।
On to an exclusive news break here on the right stand. An alleged Hawala operative has managed to escape probe agencies despite being in judicial custody. Mohammad Farooq, who has been accused of laundering over 2,000 crore rupees, and the enforcement directorate estimates it could go over, the actual amount could go over 10,000 crore rupees. He's laundered money. He now has been accused of subverting the system itself. Farooq was arrested back in 2018 by the Enforcement Directorate and was denied bail. He was sent to judicial custody by the Bombay High Court. But here is the twist. The alleged top Hawala dealer of Mumbai has been at home with a police guard serving as his judicial custody since 2018 till date. Sheikh was allowed to be at home for a limited time by the Bombay High Court to take care of his ill wife. But this limited time has now stretched to nearly 5 years now, since 2018, ladies and gentlemen. CBI, which has been wanting to question Sheikh for cheating, forgery, etc., has also been denied custody to even question Sheikh. The agencies are now hoping that the top court of this country will intervene. There is a hearing scheduled for Friday, and they will end this entire judicial custody at home. Have you ever heard judicial custody at home? And that too for nearly 5 years. Meanwhile, News 18 tried to contact Farooq's lawyer, and he said he won't speak as the matter is sub judice. We tried to reach out to him. So who is this man, Mohammad Farooq? Let's try and quickly understand that. This 39-year-old Hawala operator is believed to be associated with underworld elements. The Enforcement Directorate says that his entire empire was run from a one-room office in Mumbai's Kaveri Bazaar. As per the ED, he has reportedly set up over 160 dummy companies, and he ran his companies at fictitious addresses with dummy directors, including an auto driver. For instance, one flat in Katta Bazaar was the address of 4 of his companies, all of which were all floated using importer-exporter code. According to the ED, he offered services, quote-unquote, like helping to undervalue imports to escape duty. He also facilitated cash transfers within India and abroad illegally for a fee. He allegedly arranged cash for corporate houses by accepting checks. So white ko black mein badalne ka kaam bhi chal raha hai. And he's been under scanner of multiple agencies like the ED, CBI. The Navi Mumbai police was reportedly looking for him for smuggling 20,000 pieces of prohibited 13-inch swords and an 8-inch automatic knife. And the JNPD Customs has cases against him for smuggling copper and scrap metal. So how did he operate? This businessman often undervalue what their imports are to pay less custom duty. But in such cases, the actual value has to be paid to the supplier, and Farooq took care of this through illegal channels for a 2% commission. Farooq allegedly used his accounts with cooperative banks to deposit the cash he collected from his alleged clients. Farooq allegedly used his dummy companies to route the money through several layers of transactions. He operated over 130 bank accounts in various banks in Mumbai and would bring the money into his accounts, which were mainly in nationalized banks. He would then make the remittances by submitting fake bill of entry and would be submitted to the bank to clear outward payment to the exporter through RTGS or NEFT. So what is the extent of this entire alleged scam? Mohammad Farooq used 13 companies, including Stelcon Infratel Private Limited, to remit sums by using forged and fake import documents. The ED has said that nearly 2,253 crore were remitted in 2015-2016 itself, and that the fraud could cross the 10,000 crore mark. Arunima, this is a huge scam. This is a big alleged Hawala operator. But what does not escape me and what is staying with me is 5 years in judicial custody. How did he manage that? And that too at home.
And I wish I could explain how somebody who's accused of handling Hawala transactions, the allegation is 2,252 crores worth of Hawala transaction, duping poor people using their KYC documents to bring in this Hawala money allegedly from Hong Kong. The charges against him sound serious, and yet he has managed to be at home since 2019. You've already told our viewers what exactly Farooq is accused of, and this chronology of how he's managed to stay at home. In 2017, this investigation began. Both the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate stepped into this investigation. ED registered an ECIR in September 2017, and he moved for bail application in 2018, August, which was rejected by the court there. After his bail was rejected, he then went back to the Bombay High Court, and this is in 2019. In 2019, he went to the Bombay High Court, and the Bombay High Court permitted Farooq Sheikh to take care of his wife by keeping him in custody of 2 police officials up to 18th of June 2019. Subsequently, this relief given till 18th of June 2019 was extended, and then he went to, just when the High Court said that, we can't extend this any further and you must be brought to the Tajola jail, from the 3rd onwards, he went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that this matter needs to be decided. While we decide, let the High Court order continue. Now, this is my guess. All of this is happening in 2019.
Right.
What happened in 2019, 2020? COVID struck. So was that the reason that Farooq Sheikh's case really fell through? The Supreme Court had said they're going to look into this matter, but it never came up. In the interim, CBI took his wife into custody because she was also accused of similar crimes.
Right.
And during that custody, CBI claims when her medical tests were done, medical officers said she was completely fine.
So,
While CBI
so the wife was not ill. The wife is in CBI custody. She's completely fine, but the husband is actually out in judicial custody at his home, citing that his wife is ill. And all of this is under the very noses of our courts.
Yes, on 24th Feb 2022, Asama Farooq Sheikh was taken into custody, and during the examination by medical officers on 4 occasions, not one, she was found to be fit, and all of this happened while she was in CBI custody. The funny thing is, CBI wanted to question the main accused, Farooq Sheikh. That they could not, because the court had said he has to be in judicial custody at home. But the co-accused, the wife, for whose health Farooq was allowed to be home, she could be taken into custody and she could be questioned. Now, in court, ED's application will be heard tomorrow in the Supreme Court. We'll have to wait and see how that goes.
No, and not just that, if they are able to show and prove along with the CBI that the wife is totally fine, but the husband is out there at home citing the wife's illness, then he's taken even the courts for a right royal ride. So, swindling money and also duping the courts. All of that stands. Let's see what the courts decide tomorrow, what happens in Supreme Court. Arunima, thank you for your inputs. On to yet another big story here on the right stand. Months after the Indian High Commission was attacked by K elements in London, a UK report has warned against aggressive, I quote the report, aggressive Khalistan groups for carrying out subversive sectarian activities, and all this under the guise of human rights activism. CNN News 18 has accessed the Bloom Review report by Colin Bloom, who is appointed by the UK government itself, which highlights the rising influence of Khalistanis in the United Kingdom, especially amidst the British community. In this report, he clearly says that Khalistani groups are creating a rift between Sikhs in the UK. The Khalistanis are largely a minority among the Sikh community, but they have taken control of critical establishments and are now trying to push for more control and power. And all this is because they want to gain power in the UK. So what are the findings? Finding number 1, the Sikh communities in the United Kingdom face coercion and intimidation from Khalistani elements. Finding number 2, this report says that division has been created between British Sikh communities and they have been tagged as an extremist fringe ideology within the pro-Khalistan movement. The report suggests that all this is being done because they want to gain power in the United Kingdom. The fourth finding, or the next finding, is that the report highlights that individuals and organizations are fueling separatist agenda in the minds of youth. Khalistan groups are artificially inflating their influence by lobbying political bodies under the guise of human rights activism. They legitimize dubious positions or tactics by using the Sikh label. The actions of Khalistan groups don't represent Sikh beliefs and instead create a false image of legitimacy. It also notes that territorial claim by K elements for separate Sikh homeland claim does not include the part of Punjab located in Pakistan. There have been cases of individuals being intimidated and threatened by K elements for opposing them. And K entities are fueling anti-India sentiment, which will hamper UK's relationship with India. These are all findings in the report. Joining us now is Colin Bloom, UK Faith Advisor. He's joining us at this point. Colin, namaste, and thank you very much for your time. You've stated in this, it's taken 3 years of painstaking work, 60,000 words, of which 30,000 had to be culled just to make sure that this report is fit into about roughly around 220 odd pages. But let me ask you, you have spent a lot of time on this issue of Sikh extremism. When you look at interfaith and intrafaith, how big a problem is this in the United Kingdom?
Well, thank you very much for having me on, Sanjay. I would say that the overwhelming sense that we got from the evidence that we spent nearly 3 years getting, we had 21,000 responses to our call for evidence. And we did hundreds of interviews, and you know, as you say, the report is 65,000 words long. There's a lot of detail in it. The overwhelming response is that people of faith and places of worship, and that's people of all faiths, make an overwhelmingly positive contribution to the British society. And that includes, of course, the incredible British Hindu community that we have and the British Sikh community that we have, who make a tremendous contribution. To answer specifically the points that you make about the pro-Khalistan extremists, look, I'm pretty liberal. You know, I think people can campaign for whatever they like, they can believe whatever they like, but what they can't do is intimidate, coerce, threaten, or act in any way violently towards others that disagree with them. And so what we are seeing is a very small but aggressive group of pro-Khalistan extremists that exist within the Sikh community, who are making life very, very difficult for the vast majority of peace-loving, law-abiding, decent Sikhs that we have here in the UK. And this is the first time I think a report like this has come out that has been so explicit in calling for government to respond to the dangers that exist with these extremist individuals.
Colin, hi. My name is Anand. Sanjay Suri is my colleague in the UK who's been in touch with you. I'm based in India.
I'm so...
No, that's perfectly fine. You say Sanjay, you say Anand, it's all the same network. But I just thought I should let you know. He's a good friend. But let me ask you, when you did the deep dive, did you realize that these elements, these Khalistani elements within the Sikh community are actually also pushing subversive activities against, and also that directly affects the sovereignty of India? You've made observations that could spoil India-UK relationships.
Yes, I'm fully alive to the tensions that that you allude to, and of course, you know, my report is very much focused just on what's happening here in the UK. But because the UK is such a diverse community, you know, we have so many different nations that live here, so many different backgrounds, so many different religious communities that live here, and I believe that makes us stronger as a nation. But what it means is that very often controversies or conflicts that perhaps start overseas end up being played out on the streets of the UK. And so that is something that we've got to be very closely aware of, and we've got to make sure that we're doing all we can to bring peace to the streets of the United Kingdom. As far as the groups that are involved in the UK, the pro-Khalistan extremists, I call them pro-Khalistan extremists because that's what they are. They're using very strong intimidatory tactics. This is not new. They've been at this for many, many years. But I'm pleased to say that the British government, in the last few years, since I've been raising this as an issue, since I've been working on my report, they've begun to take this issue much more seriously, and I'm very pleased to say that the response that we've had to the report so far has been very positive from the government and from our politicians in the UK Parliament.
Reports also suggest that they have political backing, or they are enjoying certain political patronage, or some of these pro-Khalistan extremists have found their way into British politics, active British politics. Is that a worry, and how can that be addressed?
So I do talk about subversive behaviour. We like India, we have a very proud and dynamic democratic system and set of institutions here.
Yes.
And I'm very critical of any organisation that tries to find ways of subverting our democratic institutions by any means other than the ballot box. I have no problem with any group, whether they be, from a Sikh community or Hindu community or Muslim community, any community who wants to campaign for issues and get themselves elected, but do it using the normal democratic means. Do not try and intimidate, don't try and threaten individuals to follow their demands. And I think that's something that we're seeing. So that level of subversion, I do talk about, and there are individuals that have made attempts to do that. Perhaps I say in the report, I had one parliamentarian literally in tears on the phone to me when they were giving evidence, saying that they had felt threatened and abused by these pro-Khalistan extremists, and that this individual begged me to do something about it. And so whilst my report covers lots and lots of other issues, it's a very big document, but I understand why this particular area is sensitive. It's because of the amount of the number of responses that I had and the number of people that contacted me, particularly from within the British Sikh community, who are by far the biggest victims of this kind of extremism, who are urging me to do something about it. I think it's fair to say that there have been other, there's been at least one other report, perhaps in the last 15 years, about this subject. And what was interesting is that every single respondent in that report asked for their name to be redacted for fear of reprisals from within the British Sikh community, from these pro-Khalistan extremists.
My final question, you've made some recommendations. Are you hopeful the government will implement them? And are you hopeful these extremists are nipped in the bud, their activities? Because like you said, you've had interviewers and people who have answered, who said that they borne the brunt of their violence and their aggression.
Well, Anand, I obviously don't think this is a bud. I think this has been going on for many, many years. So nipping it in the bud, I think it's a bit late for that. But I do think we need to address it very, very robustly. This has been a problem that's been going on for. Well, I first raised this as an issue about 15 years ago. Wow. So it's certainly not a new issue. As you would know, it's not a new issue in the UK. Do I think the British government will take it seriously? I can tell you that they are taking it seriously. I've been in numerous meetings over the last few years where I've been revealing and sharing some of the evidence that I've gathered, and I think both the authorities here in the UK and in the Foreign Office and around the world are very alive to the evidence that we've uncovered. And indeed, I suspect or I hope that moves will be made to deal with some of the worst excesses that we have.
We hope so too, because like you've said, by the time the report was commissioned and it was completed, we've had 5 faith ministers, 3 prime ministers, if not more, in the United Kingdom. But if there is a larger interest of British people, if this can be followed and taken through, irrespective of who is at the helm, it'll only augur well for society and humanity largely. Colin, thank you very, very much. Let's hope everybody reads through this, peruses this report. It's very well documented and it covers a gamut of issues. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very, very short break. Plenty coming up. The probe into Atiq's Hawala network. We'll get you the details. Stay with us.
Could be in Raipur, they could be in any city. They are not limited to any one track. But where the activities could have been seen as unchecked, those areas have been fairly limited now. And last, I talked to senior police officials while I was in Jagdalpur. They mentioned an area of, let us say, 40 by 100 kilometers that needed to be taken care of further. So it's a very difficult task, very difficult terrain, almost uninhabited, very difficult to deal with it, undulating forests and jungles and streams. Many of the areas are unapproachable. And in that, it is a process where gradually things are moving towards greater control of the state machinery. It's not as if they have the run of the ground, they can do whatever they want. It is not quite like that. Things have improved, but we need to go much further ahead where Naxal activity or their presence is eliminated. So we are a little distant still from there.
Mr. Tir Singh Dev, thank you for speaking with us and making the time here at CNN News 18. But there, like you said, there is a lot more that needs to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, the reality is that they need to get it right only once. Our security forces and the establishment has to get it right every single time. And another aspect, it's not at the line of control. It's not in Jammu and Kashmir. It's not at the line of actual control or LAC. It's not in the northeast. It's in these jungles. It's to red terror that we are losing the maximum number of soldiers, our Jawans, our personnel. Now, shouldn't there be a stop to this? The big question. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry with us, Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director India Foundation, and PK Mishraji, former ADG BSF with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. It tears your heart to talk on the fact that we've lost 11 lives. We've lost people in the line of duty who are doing their jobs. But were they sitting ducks? Were they sitting ducks, PK Mishraji?
Yes, I can well tell you, definitely they were sitting ducks. You were just telling about violation of SOP. Of course, mistakes do happen, but mistakes have happened in Chattisgarh several times. We have lost more than 150 Jawans only in Chattisgarh. It may be Sukma, it may be Chittagopha, it may be Narayanpur, it may be Kanker, or it may be Bijapur. I have gone to this Jaram Ghati and Darba Ghati after both the incidents where Vichi Shukla was injured and that incident, and how they retreated to Malkangiri through Tulsi Dogri. Those areas also I have seen. Somebody who has gone to Bastar, then only they will come to know how difficult it is to control Bastar area. It's very difficult for even one corps of army to control Bastar area. Definitely, development is taking place. But you cannot, like the state is telling, it's a law and order problem definitely of the state. But Naxalite problem, yes, it is not alone the law and order it is not a law and order problem, and it is not only with the state. Definitely it is a coordinating affair of both state and center and the intelligence group. They will act together, but the leading role should be taken by Chhattisgarh police itself. Like Punjab police, they took the leading role for wiping out the Khalistani commandos and everything, and Punjab it became quiet. So the same thing has to be done here. CPMMs are there in addition to them. The IRB battalions have to be trained. The local boys who are taken to DRGs, of course the DRGs who are local boys, but what about the training? We have got a training center in Kanker from Army, and I hope Chhattisgarh police, they can be well trained in Kanker, and they have to come to the expectation. See, like Andhra and
cannot
Telangana,
drop your guard.
They have done through Greyhound.
One cannot drop their guard at all. The Greyhounds are an example. They're but every time there is a slip up, there is carelessness, there is loss of lives. And Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, PK Mishra ji, Dhruv Katoji, you are all veterans. You've handled explosives, especially, and you know how much explosive is required to get to blow up a road that is more than 10 feet wide, and to blow a hole in that road which is more than 3.5 to 4 feet deep. So Lieutenant General Kulkarni, for somebody to be able to sow that kind of explosives and plant them on that road, which is a tarred road. If you see the road, it's a tarred road on either side, but look at that crater. That's a lot of explosive that has been planted there.
Yeah.
5 feet deep crater is what we are given to understand. General Kulkarni.
What has happened is extremely sad. Something which is avoidable, because we have to have actionable end. Much that everything has been done at all levels. It's very easy to blame. So and so should have done this, so and so. What happens is the people on the ground, the boys who are there, maybe the DRG, which are the local tribals as it is brought out, who have been trained or not trained or partially trained into this kind of thing. A kind of complacency sets in. And even last time, if I recollect it, in 2010 or something, when in April, when we lost about 75, when they returned back from operations, this is what happened. We have, until and unless we have good intelligence coming in, we have to have our eyes and ears everywhere. Human end, technical end, kind of mobile towers that are required to be there. The terrain is extremely, totally jungle. It's not easy. I understand it's not easy. That's the reason what has been there. But notwithstanding that, you find a lot has been done. At a point of time, there were 140 districts affected. They came down to 76, and now that.
Back on with the latest on Atiq Ahmed and the extent of his entire mafia raj. According to sources, during the raids at Atiq's father-in-law's house, the police have recovered a diary in which the names of many close friends and aides of Atiq have been recorded. This diary also includes the list of Atiq's businesses worth thousands of crores spread across 5 states. Atiq's close friends related to real estate and hotel businesses are also mentioned in this diary. Benami companies present in Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, especially Mumbai, Madhya Pradesh and Delhi are also mentioned in the diary. According to sources, the phone numbers of all the close friends of Atiq are also present in this diary. And from this very spot, the cops have also recovered the Aadhaar card of Atiq's brother-in-law, Zaki Ahmed. Zaki runs a lot of his shell companies. Atiq had captured a cold storage illegally and got it written in the name of his wife, Shaista Parveen. Atiq's wife used to consider it as a gold bank because the mafia family used to spend the money earned from there to fulfill their crime and also expensive hobbies. This cold storage was razed to ground by the administration about 2 years back. But there is a capacity to keep more than 2 lakh gunny bags inside this cold storage. 135 rupees was charged per sack, which means that there were more than an earning of more than 2.5 crores every year. Shaista Parveen had actually taken over the Hawala business of Atiq Ahmed after Atiq went to jail. UPSTF is continuously investigating this matter and more than 25 Hawala traders are currently on the radar of the UPSTF. These Hawala traders are from Prayagraj, Kaushambi, Lucknow, Delhi, NCR, Kolkata. Even many Hawala traders have been interrogated by the UPSTF officials and their arrest is also possible in the days to come. And for the last few years, the STF has been probing the land registry papers of many Hawala traders and real estate traders. Sources say that for the last few raids, UPSTF actually conducted searches in the Kachar area of Prayagraj. It was found that Shaista Parveen is actually trying to wrap up her Hawala nexus and collect all that is due to her. Son of Mafia Don Atiq Ahmed, Asad, meanwhile himself There are pictures that have surfaced that show how he wanted to be a Don and considered himself to be a gangster. That's why all his pictures have come to the fore, in which Don has been written on his cheek. There is a Land Cruiser vehicle that is being used which had no number plate on it. In order to create his Don image, there was a logo that was put and he used to drive in this vehicle without a number plate. And that's why Atiq used to drive this vehicle and Asad started using this vehicle thereafter. A Lucknow-based builder Mohammad Muslim, meanwhile, has filed a case against Atiq's sons in the Khuldabad police station of Prayagraj, and that is on kidnapping and threatening to kill. There is much more that's tumbling out of the closet, but the larger question is, where is Shaista Parveen? With that, we call it a wrap on this edition of The Right Stand. Brass Tags with Zaka right now.
All right, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Karnataka campaign has now gone into full gear with the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge rubbing it into the BJP. He compared Prime Minister Narendra Modi to a poisonous snake. This is not the first time that a congressman or woman has referred to Prime Minister Modi in rather disparaging terms.